This is a Hudson lecture on Indian independence. I'm going to be going over names, key terms, courses of events, so that we can get a better understanding about Indian independence. So let's go and begin. By the last years of the 19th century, the Western educated Indian minority of Indian had been organizing for decades. The Indian National Congress Party, that's something you should be familiar with. It grew out of regional associations of Western educated Indians. It was originally centered in cities of Bombay, Pune, Calcutta, and Madras. It became a political party in 1885. It focused on national movements in India. It was governed through most of the post-colonial period. It had the blessing of a number of high-ranking British officials. The reason for the formation of common Indian identity was Indians shared common grievances, similar educational and class backgrounds, growing contacts through the Congress Party. Indians were upset over the favoritism British rulers showed toward British investors when writing trade policy. So that was one of the reasons why there was a lot of organizing and a lot of anti-British sentiment throughout the period. The British bought items mainly manufactured in Great Britain instead of India. The British pushed Indians into cash crops. And so, as a result, there was a downward movement in food production, which yielded a regular famines before World War I. The Indian Empire, this is kind of interesting with demographics, the Indian Empire was roughly a quarter Muslim. B.G. Tilak is somebody you should be familiar with. He believed that Indian nationalism should be based on appeals to Hindu religiosity. He worked to promote the restoration and revival of ancient Hindu traditions. He offended Muslims and other religious groups. He was the first populist leader in the Indian national movement. Communists and terrorists also caused problems for Britain and India, other than just the Indian nationalist movement. The Morley-Minto reforms, you should know about that. Provincially educated Indians with they were constructed with. They were opposed to elect and serve on local and all Indian legislative councils. The Indians helped British during World War I. Gandhi and Tilak sold British war bonds. Indian princes offered substantial war bonds. Indian soldiers went to fight in the Middle East and East Africa. At the end of World War I, Britain did not honor promises made during the war, such as the movement towards self-governance. Montagu-Chelmsford reforms. They increased the powers of Indian legislators at the all-Indian level and placed much of the provincial administration of India under local ministers' control by legislative bodies with substantial numbers of elected Indians. These were passed in 1919. The Rowlatt Act, it placed severe restrictions on key Indian civil rights, such as the freedom of the press, acted to offset the concessions granted under the Montagu-Chelmsford reforms of 1919. Mohandas Gandhi, he led sustained all-Indian campaign for independence. He mainly worked after World War I. He stressed nonviolent but aggressive mass protest. Gandhi appealed to the masses and Western educated nationalists. I believe this is how you pronounce it. Satyagraha. It literally means truth force. It was the strategy of nonviolent protest. It was developed by Mohandas Gandhi and his followers in India. Later deployed throughout the colonial world and U.S. Gandhi's leadership helped surge nationalist protests in the 1920s and 30s. The Quit India movement, a mass civil disobedience campaign that began in the summer of 1942 to end British control of India. There was tension between the Indian National Congress and British at outbreak of the war because Congress leaders told allies they would support war if allies committed to independence at the end of the war. The Muslim League, it was founded in 1906 to better support demands of Muslims for separate electorates and legislative seats in Hindu-dominated India. They represented a divide within the Indian national movement. Churchill's defeat in 1945 brought in the Labour government that wanted to deal with the nationalist leaders. So really, it was pretty significant that Churchill lost. So it was probably a pretty fundamental aspect of India's independence. In the summer of 1947, Britain handed over power to leaders of the Congress Party and to Jinnah. Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he was a Muslim national leader in India. He was originally a member of the Nationalist Congress Party. He became a leader of the Muslim League. He traded Muslim support for British during World War II for promise of a separate Muslim state after the war. He was the first president of Pakistan. On January 30th, 1948, Gandhi was shot by a Hindu fanatic. After that, there was communal rioting, and hundreds of thousands were killed, and there were up to 10 million refugees throughout the Indian subcontinent. Burma, which is obviously today Myanmar, and Ceylon, which is today Sri Lanka, they won their independence in the following years. So that concludes the lecture. I hope this helps you out, and thanks for watching.